All right, guys, we are live, episode 126 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you for joining us here. We got a guest. He was on all the way in 2013, episode 5, if you want to go back and find out more information with Keith Garcia at that time. But the guest of the hour, Mr. Keith Garcia, 2013 Three Gun Nation champion. I think he won like back-to-back. There's a whole list. We can go through a whole show with the accolades and stuff like that. Captain of Cobalt Kinetic Shooting Team, Keith Garcia. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, thanks for having me, Anthony. I always enjoy coming back, and I look forward to a good show.
Yeah, you got a lot of new stuff going on since then, and we have a lot of new stuff, obviously, all the way since that show. But we're going to talk about it here, so make sure you use the Q&A section in the bottom left-hand corner throughout the show to ask your questions to Keith. It'll be a great time to get those in. Kelly Samsel is joining us again. What's up, Kelly?
Not a whole lot. I had to come back for this show. I mean, how could I not? Dustin is missing out.
Yeah, she put a comment. I think she's a big fan of Keith, and I'm like, so you want to come in for this show? I'm guessing, right? And she's like, of course. So there you go. That's why Kelly's back with us. She only chooses.
I think that's what I said. In a few words, that's what I said. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of kept it a little bit, nice. I could have went. I could have took it.
You knew. I don't even know why you asked. I was just gonna show up, even if I wasn't invited.
Yeah, she does the superstars only. It seems nowadays. So.
Right? Thank you.
Yeah, Jennifer Seymour is joining us also. Jennifer, what's up?
Not much. Living the dream.
Indeed. All right, show sponsors are Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com. For all your tactical shit needs, just bought a charging handle, AR parts, clothing. Man, they kind of got it all. Morale patches. Go check them out for your next time you're shopping around. What do we have here? We have TechWear USA for some fine competition shooting jerseys. They also have the TechWell system and a tack latch. Go check out TechWear USA. I think we're all, I'm not sure about Keith, but I know Kelly and Jen, we all do the TechWear USA thing. It's pretty awesome. So
TechWear right here, man.
There you go. So even the Cobalt stuff's TechWear. So.
Oh, yeah.
The jackets. Oh, my gosh. Your guys' jackets are awesome.
The jackets are really cool. I didn't even know about the jackets till I saw Greg and Tommy Thacker wearing them last year, and mental check note, got to get one of those. So this year when we formed the team, that was one of those requests. And you got to go special request deal with TechWear and kind of ask them nicely to get those done. But they are great.
Yeah, indeed they are. Jen had one too last year, and I'm like, what? That's bad.
I really got it to wear to SHOT Show because I didn't want to wear my jersey every day at SHOT Show, and so I got that because I was like, that'll be perfect. I'm always cold anyway. I'm always under a jacket, but I've worn it at matches, and I've shot a couple stages, and it has the zipper, so your gun sticks out. You can put the zipper, undo the zipper, and yeah, I've been like, screw it, I'm leaving it on while I shoot the stage.
There you go. And Brett Russo for always helping us out for the show since episode 2, man. He's been a big help, so we show that dude a lot of support. Also, we talked about the Q&A section in the bottom left-hand corner. Also, you could get your questions in on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. There's a post that just went up. It's probably the most recent post. If it's not pinned to the top, you can use Facebook if you prefer to use that. Also, the Shooter's Mindset app is available for iTunes, Apple phones, and Android devices, which is the Google Play Store. So if you prefer to watch on your phone, you could just download the app and do so there. Keith's face will be, boom, right there as soon as you open it.
Nice. Right. What everyone needs on their phone.
Yeah. You can set it to a wallpaper if you want. It's all up to you, but it'll be there. So let's kind of jump into this one here right away. For those who are unfamiliar with you, Keith, and Cobalt Kinetics, which is a fairly new company, tell us about both.
All right. Well, I'm from California. Been a police officer for the last 24 years out here. Been shooting 3-gun competitively since about I shot my first match or first nationals in 2004, and then I figured I wasn't very good and didn't come back till 2008. And I've been shooting pretty consistently since then, and having a great time doing it, learning a ton about it. I was a SWAT team leader. It kind of got me into the competitive side, and really enjoyed some success and getting to know a lot of really good people, both the shooters, sponsors, match directors, etc. And like yourselves, people running the shows, and it's been a great ride. I've really enjoyed it. Last year, late last year, I hooked up with Cobalt Kinetics. They got going late in 2014. They're out of St. George, Utah, and they're a pretty small company, but they wanted to make a big splash. Really quickly and rapidly, they developed 2 rifles for SHOT Show 2015, and came out with the BAMF and Edge, which basically had the dual drop system where they have two forward assists that also function as a forward assist and drop the bolt. And so it was kind of a cool, innovative thing. And kind of dovetailing into that, they approached me in 2015 and said that they wanted to step up their game and wanted my advice, wanted my counsel on how to do that. And then I ended up coming on board this year as kind of a R&D, manage the shooting team as well as shoot for them. So it's been a wild ride. They're very innovative. Nobody does quick turnaround like them. I'll fly to Vegas, drive to Utah, shoot a gun, tell them what I want to change. They 3D print it that night. The next day I see it, tell them if it's good or not. The next week when I come back, it's CNC'd out of aluminum and we're shooting it. So nobody does stuff like that in the gun industry that I've found, and I'm very fortunate to be involved with them as well as the rest of the team that we have for this year.
Very nice. Yeah, well, I actually didn't even know they came out. I guess I must have skipped over that booth last 2015 in SHOT Show, but we definitely heard about them this year. We spent some time at the booth with all the team there. We did a video. If you haven't seen that, you can go back to the channel and check it out. Keith's pretty much talking about it, and it was funny because we walked into the booth. Jennifer was with me, right? And Keith said, "Well, what type of time frame do you want to do this in?" I'm like, "I don't know, 2 minutes." He's like, "Dude, I can't do nothing in 2 minutes." And I look at him, I'm like, "Really? You're posting all these videos with like 15 seconds. You can't do this in 2 minutes?" I was like, "Dude, it doesn't matter. If you take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get the spiel down, you can go for it."
Well, here's the thing. It's I like to talk. I like to be on camera. So when we start talking and doing stuff, I like to do it. I like to keep it going. Now I'm shooting. I want to get done with that so I can go talk to somebody on camera.
There you go. And that's funny because even Rick Birdsall, who was there next to you, he's like, he looked at him too. Really, you can't do it in 2 minutes? But it was pretty funny.
Rick's a young man. I'm sure he can't last more than 2.
There. Oh, well, I hope he's watching. That'd be awesome. You got to see a comeback, Rick. Give me a comeback now. Time's running on that one. All right, let me know on that's good stuff. We're going to talk a little bit more about the rifle because I think the Banff Evolve, is that what I'm getting on this rifle? It's the Evolve rifle. That's the one you helped develop with Cobalt Kinetics. And I think a lot of people, they know about the reloading system, but they're going to say, well, you don't do a lot of reloading in 3-gun. So unless there's a required mag change or something like that, a required reload. But what are some of the other advantages that rifle gives you in 3-gun?
All right, so what we did in this platform, I've got what's essentially the Evolve series here. We started off, they said, here's a clean sheet of paper. What would you do if you wanted to have the best gun for sports shooting, whether it's a rifle match, a 3-gun match, a 2-gun match? What would be the best for competitive shooting? Where would you start? What would you do? What would you ask for? What parts would you need? So I took my guns there. I took their guns that they were currently making. I shot them side by side, and I showed them what performance was. I showed them, their guns look really, really cool. I really love the way they do their guns, their colors, the artistry and the design. But they wanted the performance angle, and that's exactly what I intended to bring to them. So when I started off, I thought we were going to start putting in the best products that other people made, and they turned around and said, hey, we'll develop stuff in-house that will be better. And I know there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and there's a lot of people who've been doing stuff for a long time, but how do you make a better comp? How do you make a better buffer system when people have been making them for 50 years? So I told them what I use. I showed them. I shot their guns. I put my stuff in their guns. I showed them how their guns could be better. And then by the time we got around to really looking at their stuff, they were already making things that were kind of blowing my mind and making the gun shoot great. What we wound up with is a 6-port comp, this nice blue one here, which is very, very flat and efficient. I don't know if you can actually see in there, but it's got a lot of additional little ridges and curves and turns in there that really are very efficient. And one thing that's kind of nice about it actually is a pretty decent flash hider for night matches. So that was developed in-house. And I told them, hey, if we're going to do this and we want to do it right, we want to get the best barrel. So they put a proof research barrel in it, the carbon fiber barrels, which are amazing. And basically the way I look and assess a barrel system is how does it perform when you shoot a group, and how does it perform when you shoot a group after you've burned off 25 rounds. And most barrels, if you take them, and it's a hint for you 3-gunners out there, if you come to one of my classes, you will do this, and I'll show you exactly what happens to all the guns. But I sight in at 200, but what I'll do is I'll shoot a group at 100 after I've got my 200-yard zero. Like, and these groups at 100, they're damn near touchy. You can put a dime over them, and then I'll burn off 25 rounds as fast as I can, and then I'll shoot another 5-round group, and you will see a shift. It will shift left, right, up, down. It will do something because as the barrel gets hot, it's going to move, and the absolute best barrel in terms of shift is the proof. This one right here, and that same test I've done it a few times, it will move down exactly half an inch. And I have barrels, and I've seen in my classes that move up to 3.5 inches. And that's not just down, that's left or right. So imagine now at 100 yards, something's moving 3 MOA, what it's doing at 200, 300, 400, 500 when we're shooting. Your 10-inch plate that you're now engaging, even if you have a dead hold perfect, dead center of it, your gun may not even be capable of hitting it. So the idea that you want good quality components is something that's real important if you want to be able to, know your skill level and know your gear and be able to on demand say, I know where I need to hold to hit that 500-yard target. And even after I burn down, 30 rounds over here, I can still do it. So that's something that, to me, was real important. I wanted an adjustable gas block because I think that's something that, as you want to be able to tune it to your load, your shooter, your stance, the way you hold a gun, or the way you interact, because we're basically a big bag of water, and we want to be able to. Some of us have more in us, and some of us have less, and you want to be able to tune that to you. And that's something that's very important in a rifle system. So we have an adjustable gas block. They made this nice fore-end. We put an extra ridge on top because their original fore-end had a little hole in the top, and you could actually almost touch the gas block. So this, I've shot, the first time I went out and tested, they had a full auto gun. We shot 3,000 rounds as fast as the guys could load and hand me magazines, which was cool. And I didn't even put on gloves till I was about 1,500 rounds through. So it was really, really cool. It wasn't a proof barrel, by the way. We weren't going to destroy one of those. We had a chrome line barrel in there. But this handguard, the way it's designed, really does keep the heat from getting to your thumb and to your fingers. So as we go back into the lower, I told them I wanted a mag well to facilitate loading better. We've got one out of plastic at this point, and at some point it'll be offered in aluminum as well. Just to note, all the aluminum pieces that you see, including the adjustable stock, are all made in-house. It's all 7075 aircraft aluminum, and that's not usually what people are using in their uppers, lowers, especially not their stocks. So this is something that's rare so far. Now, as we move back, I wanted a lightweight carrier, so we went with the Toolcraft titanium carrier, which, again, when you put it with an adjustable gas block and the right buffer, you can tune it. Now you're getting very little interaction between the gun and how it interacts with your body and moves you off the target. So that was something that was real important. What I insisted on is an adjustable stock, because they said, hey, we want to have an adjustable, we want to have a stock that is aluminum. And I said, well, I want an adjustable stock, so you guys got to figure out how to make an adjustable stock out of aluminum. And they've got some really smart people, and they've got a cheek piece here that has 4 different sizes for heights. We've got an adjustable length of pull, and as well as the butt pad will go up and down. And this configuration I never would have thought would be the best for me until I actually played with it. And I always shot a stock that had the butt pad up as high as I could, but then I found if I dropped this down, it got more in the meaty part of my chest, and I got less interaction with the gun coming off the target. It shot steadier, shot better. So I was real impressed by that. The stock was a real highlight for me. As we're going through all of it, we talked about triggers, we talked about barrels, talked about comps, and one day I showed up there, and they said, hey, we think we can do something. We think we can make it load itself. We think we can make it eject a spent magazine, lock back on the last round, feed itself when you insert a magazine. And I was a little skeptical because the gun has been around for 40, 50 years and no one had done it. So the nice part about working with Cobalt is they don't have a sheet of paper that has a rifle on it and you got to stay within those borders. They just basically say anything goes. And they have a bunch of people who aren't gun people. They brought in people from a bunch of other industries, which was really cool because they didn't know what a rifle was supposed to look like. And they just kind of went with, hey, what would make it more efficient? What would make it faster? What would make it sexier? What can we do to innovate? And that was a great experience to be involved with. And they came out with the Cobalt Advantage reloading system, and version 1.0, we're on version 2.0 now because we're refining it slightly, but it's really a cool system. It's got 4 different patents. We've beefed it up a little bit for version 2.0, and it took out one of the springs, so it'd just be more of a mechanical design, and I think it's going to be really awesome. We're also going to have a lever where you can defeat it if you don't want to use it. So and as well as having the traditional controls on it. So all those things, probably June, July timeframe for production sales. But it is really a cool thing. I mean, I first time I went out and shot it, I had the full auto gun. I shot 6 rounds. I reloaded, shot 6 rounds, and I reloaded again and shot 6 rounds in 4.37 seconds. And that was just playing with it for one day. And I was really, really, really impressed with how smooth it was, how well the comp worked. We have a buffer system in here that has 3 different springs come with it. You have 4 different weights inside of it. You can adjust the weights inside the buffer. It's another Cobalt original, for lack of a better term, and it's just very cool. So again, with my adjustable gas block, with my light and carrier, with my buffer system that I can tune to me, now I can do my splits at 50, keep them under 1500ths of a second, and keep them within 6 inches of each other in the center of the target. And that's my standard for judging the performance of a rifle. I will hold it on a target at 50, and 5 times in a row I will shoot splits. The splits have to be under 1500ths, and then they all have to be within about 6 inches on the target. So you get a group of 5, and then you'll see where the other 5 are, and it's generally, with this rifle, it's no problem at all. With a lot of rifles, it's not really possible. So very, very cool. And at the end of the day, this one's got an AR gold trigger in it. Great trigger. Swaro scope with a Warren scope mount. And another thing that I think is absolutely essential is the Duke Defense offset sights, because sometimes the scopes go bad, and it's not this scope, but scopes in general. Red dots go out, etc. And sometimes you need to adjust between long range and short range, and these make it so much easier, so much quicker than trying to adjust your scope up and down. So this platform, the way it is now, I think is going to be an awesome competition gun, but it doesn't stop there. They're going to go ahead and continue on and build a black line of rifles that will have all of the bonuses of the Cobalt systems and be a cheaper price point, as well as make them available for like self-defense, law enforcement, military type use.
There you go. I mean, so you're I know I talking about this throughout since SHOT Show, we had some people say, "Oh man, it's kind of a pricey rifle," but I actually didn't even know, because I was doing too much recording and wasn't paying attention to what actually came with this rifle, So, but if you really want to build a rifle half of what that rifle is when it comes to you, you're probably going to spend upwards to about what you're going to pay for that, and probably not even going to get close to the same rifle. So I think a proof research barrel in itself, everybody knows that's not a cheap barrel, and they're kind of hard to get. On top of that.
Yeah, you're looking at a $900 barrel right there, just rough. So
yeah, and even if you had the $900 and you go to them, there's still a wait. It's not like you have $900. Here's a barrel. No, you still got to wait on that.
We've got some high-end shooters on our team: Nick Atkinson, Rick Birdsall, and Kalani Laker, and these guys have been sponsored by Proof in the past, and they're calling them up saying, "Hey, we need these barrels," because they're so popular that everybody wants them, and it's a great product. So I'm glad we do have them in the gun. I'm glad that I'm able to use them for my competition shooting, because it does give me an advantage.
All right, Jen, you were at that booth. What are your initial thoughts when you picked up that rifle? I mean, we have some fancy guns.
I tried to steal it.
Yeah.
No, I did love it. I went up first in Kalani's, like, "Here, hold it," and gave me the mags and all, and it was so much fun to play with it, with the mag automatically dropping and everything. I was like, that's sweet.
Right on. Kelly, you had any thoughts on this? You were able to swing by there too, right?
Yeah, I shot it out at range day on Monday. It was nice. It shot great. I mean, we didn't get to play with it a lot, and you just kind of, stood in line and took your turn. There was a ton of people, but yeah, it was nice, and it looks great. And I think now, and all you guys know, there's so many people making guns. You have to have something that's drastically different to stand out, and obviously looks and performance-wise and stuff is drastically different. So it's great. It's great to see something other than your standard, everybody's rifle looks the same thing out there. So it's cool.
It was definitely a big hit. I mean, you about couldn't get in the booth.
Yeah.
People, just it was spilling out of the aisle, and
yeah, it's like every time you go to these big shows, you're like, there really isn't much AR innovation. It's like someone did some different cuts in a handguard, and then they made a whole new model AR.
And made it a different color.
And made a different color, yeah.
That's exactly right. Oh, we've got the purple and pink one and the blue one this year, and that seems to be the big innovation. Oh, okay, we got a Cerakoted model. Honestly, you're absolutely right. You're hitting on all the right points. At the end of the day, what truly was innovative about SHOT Show this year? We've had some stuff that come out that's different. That has bonuses built into it, and some of them for competition, some of them are for the law enforcement self-defense side. So it'll time will tell. I mean, we're still working out all the details with the car system, but it is a cool deal, and it definitely it has some advantages to it that I think the light will be shed on as the year progresses.
Yeah, so it's not just a competition gun. They do have other lines like the black model. So if you guys just want kind of go to war guys, you know what I mean? Those Chris Costa guys that don't want all the, whatever you want to call it, lack of a better term here, thinking. But they do have.
There you go, dogging on Costa.
The Costa class.
I'm back, and you gotta say bad things about him.
Yeah. we had Costa as a guest. I love Costa.
I like Chris. Don't pick on Chris. Chris is a good dude.
Yeah, just the warfighter tactical guys. You gotta love those guys. So they have a rifle for you, or you're a law enforcement, whatever. They got a rifle that'll fit you. So definitely something to look in. Check out the website. There's a few models out there already. We're just kind of hitting on one right now, more specifically.
Let me address what you just said real quick, so we can get it out of the way. I've been a police officer for a long time. I've been a SWAT team leader. I've had lots of experience, done lots of stuff, and I can separate what training is for law enforcement and what training is for competition. Okay, and the stuff I do to get better at competition, I do honestly feel will make me better at gun handling and target acquisition and shooting under stress, which will definitely help me at work. So the only time I get mad is when people say things like, "Oh, that's going to get you killed in a gunfight." Okay, yeah, I get it. All right, I get it. You can't separate the two. I understand. This is also a game. They keep score. They give out prizes. So we can enjoy a game and improve our skill level. And I'll guarantee you, the people who are better at manipulating those weapon systems and can perform under the stress of other people watching them shooting other people's stages, when people are keeping score, will perform better under stress than people who just think they're good, because they go to the range and shoot 50 rounds and shot a nice group and then talked about how good they were.
I think just the timer alone. I'll never forget my first competition, which I haven't been doing this all that long, but I'll never forget the first time that buzzer went off. It was like, whoa, I didn't remember how to rack the gun. I was like, what do I do? I mean, it just unnerves you and it probably took 6 months of going before I finally kind of settled and didn't get that, oh crap, there's a buzzer behind me. I think that alone helps. I think that improved my gun handling more than anything, just because I had to learn how to do it on the clock and under pressure, and so now it's not a big deal.
Absolutely. When I talk to students in 3-gun classes, when I teach SWAT team members and new recruits, I give them strategies on how to relax, because if you're tense, it doesn't help anything. Your finger doesn't work, your weapon manipulation sucks, you get so stressed out, your vision starts to decrease. And all those things can happen in a fight, it can happen in a match, because like that brain scrambler, the buzzer, it doesn't help performance. So I definitely think that having that tool to train with, whether it's your dry fire or your live fire, having that buzzer to be able to react and explode off of that is something that definitely builds up the ability to cope with that stress better.
Maybe you need to give me those stress relieving tips for when I'm shooting long range, because that was disastrous this last weekend.
Oh boy.
Hey, maybe your rifle's dipping a little, an inch or two to the left, and you don't know it. See those.
I don't think it was the arrow. I think it was the Indian.
All right.
I'm not one to blame my equipment.
I was trying to give you a little credit.
Jennifer, hold on. Now, a shooter always blames the equipment or the gunsmith. And if you're the gunsmith, then you have to blame the equipment. But if you made the equipment and the gunsmith and the shooter, you got nothing. So I will never make my own gun. You gotta have something to fall back on.
All right. Jen, you have a couple of Facebook questions you want to hit?
Yeah, these are kind of more training related, which I knew we'd get some. Robin Tater said, what are some recommendations for training with time constraints to get the best practice possible? So I'm sure that they're like me, who has a full-time job and 3 kids and not a lot of time. So like, what gives you the biggest bang for your buck?
Okay, so the biggest bang for your buck is going to be what you can do every day. If you can devote 15 minutes to training every day at home, dry fire, you will improve your skill level by leaps and bounds. 15 minutes a day is better than 2 full days at the range shooting live ammo like on Saturday and Sunday. It's if you do a little bit every day, you'll build up the repetition, the muscle memory, the neural pathways of various ways to achieve this goal in your head, in your mind, in your hands. Because you'll be doing it at different times of the day. You'll be you'll be tired, you'll be awake, you'll be amped on coffee. All these things you'll start to bring together in your training, where it won't just be one way when I drive to the range and it's cold and I have my jacket on and everything's slow and that's all I can do is my training in the winter. You need to train a little bit every day at home. And if you're going to do 3-gun, rifle, pistol, shotgun is important because pistol isn't a throwaway anymore. Pistol, I mean, I've been to matches where there's targets out at 100 yards now. Yeah, ring that target at 100 yards twice. Okay, then I've got to go get some factory ammo so it can actually make 100 yards. But at the end of the day, you have to train with all 3 systems, but you have to do a little bit every day. Say the dry fire drill you saw I threw up yesterday, the 15-second deal. I do stuff like that to keep myself entertained because I do those drills every day. And in my classes, I show people, okay, this is how you should pick up a gun and load it. This is how you should load an empty gun out of the holster. This is how you load a gun that's in the holster with a magazine in it, nothing in the chamber. And I will practice those every day. And it only takes 15 minutes to get through all of it. Now, if you've already done it, that's because I've done it. Okay, I'm just reviewing, I'm building, and I'm trying to have another building block at my skill level. Now, if you're learning them, it's going to take more focus, right? When people come to the classes, we go through 50 different challenges, and I say, okay, this is how you're going to do the handgun, empty. This is how you're going to do it full. This is how you're going to do it a reload, and then we're going to do all that with rifle and shotgun, and we're going to do all these different scenarios and possibly things you could face, and I'm going to have you look at it. When I do it, and I'm going to explain it, then I'm going to have you practice it dry, then I'm going to have you shoot it, and I'm going to time it, and I'm going to have you write down the drill and write down your time because that's your baseline. I want you to be able to remember the drill and come back and practice it, and this was your time. And when I go to shoot at the range, I never shoot more than 2 days a week. Usually it's just 1, and that's live ammo. So what I'll do is I have a journal, and I say, these are my drills, and these are my times. And when I train during the week, when I do my dry fire training, I'll go to the range. Like this weekend, I'll go. In that 15-second drill, I'll trim it down to where I'll probably shoot the whole thing. I just won't shoot all the ammo and all the guns. I'll just have 2 rounds or 1 round per magazine and shoot it and kind of get a baseline to where I'm at actually shooting live ammo, doing picking up the gun, loading it, doing shoot 2, reload, shoot 2, reload, shoot 2, put it down, pick up my rifle, load it, do the same thing, pick up the shotgun, I'll probably load 12 and not 16, and then shoot around and see where I'm at. And then when I come back during the week, I'm going to see what those times were from week to week. And that'll just be one of the drills I do. I like to do a drill like that at the beginning because there's a ton of stuff involved with it. And you've got to remember the stuff. You've got to perform. If you don't perform, it's a disaster. You should video it so you can laugh at yourself later when you look and go, wow, I dropped 2 magazines. I dropped six of the 12 shotgun shells. And as you start getting better, you will see the dry fire stuff. When you start feeling really good at home, you start feeling better at the range. And that just gives
Jen, didn't you just have a video where you threw everything and
that was actually
from a year ago?
That was a year ago, and Christy Connor Tate was so kind as to bring it back on the ladies shooting group. But yes, I was dry firing. I was practicing. I was going to learn how to quad load because somebody told me that I should stick to dual loading because I had little hands because I was a girl. And that was just about daring me to learn to do it. So I was going to learn to do it. And all I had was, I didn't have any dummy shells. I had just snap caps, the heavy metal. Mm-hmm. And I was videoing because I wanted to be able to see what I was doing with my hand. And so I videoed and I put the first 2 in and I went to put the second 2 and I caught, or I guess the first 2, I caught my thumb really bad, and it hurt, and so I jerked, and I dropped the snap caps, and one hit my bare
On your
foot.
toe.
Hit my toe. So I'm like shaking my thumb and jumping around because my toe was killing me, and it was on video. Well, I laughed at myself, and I was like, I get so frustrated with everybody putting all their perfect runs on the internet, and they never show, because then people are like, well, I can't do that. Like, I put all of my really bad stuff on there. I figure everybody should be honest and show it. So anyway, Christy Connor's tape brought that back for me for my birthday.
I didn't see that video. I should go watch it. Thanks.
I like the concept, but if I start I can't put up the fails because my sponsors wouldn't like it. That's the bottom line. But I do applaud you doing that because there's plenty of it. I mean, there's plenty of learning scars that come from training. I mean, my hands are cut up really bad all the time because I'm constantly changing things, adjusting the way I'm loading the shotgun, doing reloads, different techniques, trying to speed things up. And yeah, it's not pretty because if you're evolving and trying to get better, then you're going to have fails because you can't get better without failing and then finding a way to achieve success. So don't worry about the failure. That's fine. That's the way you build those good habits, by finding out what doesn't work and then sticking with what does. So I applaud you putting up that stuff, but once you put it on the internet, it never goes away.
Yeah, indeed, that's true. You had one more you wanted to hit? I have two on my queue.
Let's see. They also asked, what are your favorite benchmark drills?
Okay, so at 50 yards, I take a three-gun nation target, which essentially you can put, like a paper plate in the middle of a target. Just have something that you can see, right? So at 50 yards, what I'll do is I'll take 10 rounds, and I will steady myself, get a good purchase on the gun, be dead center of that plate, and I'll have the timer go off, and then I will shoot 2 rounds. And it has to be to count. It has to be a 15 split or better. Okay. And when I go down the range, I want to see there's going to be a group of 5 in the center of that target where I was aiming, and my benchmark is to see where those other 5 are at. So I want to know what am I doing with this gun. How is the gun affecting me, and what's the result on the target? Because if I walk down there and there's only 5 hits, I know that I'm not performing very well, and that gun isn't performing very well with me. So that's the way I evaluate new gear. If somebody says, hey, I want you to use this comp, or hey, I want you to use this lightweight bolt carrier group, or try this ammo. So that's the drill I'm going to do, because I know what my standard is. It has to be there's going to be the 5 shots in the middle, and everything else has to be within 6 inches. And my gun will do that every time. Now, if I get something that improves that, and all of a sudden, wow, they're all at 4 inches, that's cool. If it's at 12 or 18, or they're off the target, then I know it's not an improvement. So that's a good benchmark for me. And that 15 hundredths of a second is for me, not for everybody. That's something you need to establish for yourself. It could be 2.0, 2.5, 3. It just comes down to how. And here's the thing, I'm not trying to say I'm going to acquire 2 side pictures on this target. I am literally hammering the trigger so I can get that split, because I want to see what that gun's doing under recoil for that second shot. Okay, if I have to go bang and then settle in for the second shot, I'm not performing up to the potential of that rifle system and my finger and my eye to interact with that target. So I know when I put together the right ammo, the right gun, the right scope, and I'm holding the gun correctly. Because I do this in all my classes, and I get people at 50 yards, and they start off shooting like half-second splits and missing, and I adjust them, adjust how they hold the gun, I adjust how they stand and everything, and then everybody's shooting down in the 2.5, 2.0, and getting hits, on steel targets at 50 yards, and getting excited, because it isn't rocket science. You just need the information, and I'm all about getting the information to students so people can improve. In terms of handgun, I think having a holster that you can definitely draw and shoot an A zone in under a second is something that is to strive for, and to be something that once you get there, you're good to go. You don't need to go down to a half second. It's fun to play around with it. I have, out of my ALS, I like to, at the beginning of my handgun training, I will, at some point I'll do some draws just to see how stupid fast I can go. And what that does, because I'll get down in the 6/10ths and I'll be 0.65, and I'll get my hits and I'll feel great about it. But in a match, I'm not going to do that. In a match, my adrenaline is going to be up, and I'm going to relax, and I'm going to make sure that shot counts. It's going to be under a second, and it's going to be an A, or it's going to be a hit on that piece of steel. But I know if I can go 0.65, that there's no way I can possibly have a big issue at 1 second. And that's something that you need to know on demand what you're going to do under pressure. So that to me is a good benchmark for the handgun. For shotgun's all about knowing where your slugs hit and keeping it loaded. So I have a 5-inch target that I shoot at 50. And if I can put 3 slugs in a 5-inch target at 50, standing offhand, then I know that gun's pretty much going to go and shoot wherever I want. And my Terran Tactical, my pretty gun here, no rear sight, just the rib to aim down, and Terran's nice little triangle sight on there. I don't know why you can see that, but that little triangle at the tip is a real fine aiming point. And if you cheek the gun well, and I'll also show you that you can get longer butt pads and you can get extended ones for the Benelli that will also increase the cheek height, similar to the rifle. It will help you because Terran, like what he'll do, he'll actually bend the tube that holds the magazine tube that holds the barrel on until it shoots dead on at 50. And when I get it, everyone I've ever got from him shoots dead on at 50. It's beautiful. And as long as I do my part and line it all up together and I bring the gun up to my head and don't bring my head down to the gun, then I'm seeing what I need to see to hit. And those are good benchmarks for me. In terms of loading the shotgun, there was only 3 of us who were really loading good for a while there in tactical. Horner, Daniel Horner, Terran, and myself doing the one at a time with the weak hand. Actually, Daniel did it with his right hand. And it was great because we had a built-in advantage at every match because everybody else loaded slower. Because it took a long time to learn how to do that and be fast with it. But then the stupid quad loading came out and ruined this game for everybody. It's so much easier to learn how to do. It's so much more efficient. And at the end of 2014, I went and shot a match with the Surefire match with Nils Jonasson and Daniel Horner, and we squatted together. And Daniel brings out the quad loaders, and I'm like, no, not you two, no. Mm-hmm. And me and Nils sat there and watched him he went across a rope bridge and loaded like 8 rounds as he was bouncing up and down. I was like, motherfucker, now I'm going to have to quad load. So I went back and I went ahead and got all the stuff and started learning how to do it. And it was easy to learn. Because I've been loading weekends so long, I tried to bring out the right hand and do it, and it just wasn't very smooth. So I went ahead and did it. Greg Jordan and Tommy Thacker was like, "Hey, this is what we're doing," at the range one day, and I'm like, "Oh, cool. Let me see how you're doing it." All right. I went home and started trying that, and it was very efficient. And the load 12 drill that I put up, a couple of years ago, that's kind of my standard when I go to the range to evaluate the how I'm shooting and how fast I'm loading. I was doing about 9 seconds for the drill, doing it traditional. I wanted to come in just under 10. Now I want to come in just under 7. So there was a 30% improvement by going to quad load, and it's definitely something people need to look at if they're not doing it already. And I don't think your hands can be too small unless you're a child, to be honest with you.
No, I'm quad loading.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been quad loading for a year now, so.
Yeah, no, that's awesome because most people are like, "Oh no, I can't do it." Every class I put on, we wind up with people who realize I can do this, and it's great.
Last match, there was a guy that was like, "Yeah, I just don't think I can quad load. I've got little short fingers, whatever." And so I went up and shot, and I came back, and he was like, "You're quad loading?" I was like, "Yeah." It's called practice. I practiced in my den like every day and threw shells everywhere and cussed and carried on, and eventually I learned what I needed to do to be able to not drop shells.
Yeah, no, that's the key. That is the key. In your house, nobody watching, no pressure of trying to do it at the range. You're not cold, etc. One tip I'll give the viewers that I've never actually told anybody outside of a class I teach this. If you go to the hardware store and you get a leather glove, a tight leather glove, because the guys in Russia who shoot all year long, it's cold there, it snows, right? And even when it's warm, they're wearing these leather gloves. So I communicate with some guys over there because the internet has made the world an easier place for everybody to communicate. And there's some great shooters over in Russia and in Europe in general. And I asked them, "Why are you wearing the glove?" They're like, "Well, try it. just try it. You'll see. I'm like, but it's warm. I can see when you wear it when it's cold. Try it. So if I'm trying a new technique, I'll get one of these $14 pair of, all leather, no gripping surface. No, it's all leather, smooth. Okay, don't get anything with any dimples or anything. No grip tape, no nothing. A smooth lambskin or calfskin glove. Get them for under $20. Usually they come in fashionable colors like brown. And you pull that glove on the hand that you're using to load, and now when you grab the shells and you go to put them in the gun, you go as fast as you can, because it doesn't pay to try and go slow. It doesn't pay to try and do a perfect, I'm just going to push it in, because what happens is either your shell doesn't go all the way in, it comes back out, or it goes in just enough to go underneath the lifter and then pop on top of the bolt. Now you can't load again. So what I advocate is pushing as hard as you can every time. And the reason you can do that with a glove is because you're not worried about cutting your hands. You're not going to get the pain that associated with that. Because if you hit yourself with a hammer every day, you're going to go, ow, ow, ow. Pretty soon, your brain's going to say, I don't like that. I don't want to do it anymore. And you're not going to want to do it hard and fast. And you're going to end up babying the shells in the gun. And I see it at every match I go to. People are trying to baby them in because it hurts. And if you do that, pretty soon it's a recipe for disaster. Shells are going to come popping out, or they're going to go underneath the lifter, and then you're going to have to cycle the action before you can load again. So the tip for this show, for people who want to learn how to quad load or just get better, it's painful at the beginning, but you will benefit if you take one of those really tight leather gloves, buy it a small size, smaller than your hand, and then take those rounds and literally push them in as hard as you can, especially the first two, because there's nothing in the way of the first two when you're holding them right. They just go in. You push them in hard, and even when you screw it up, it doesn't hurt you. So something to take back and try out.
There it is, pro tip. Simple as that. Just go get a leather tight glove and slide them in there as fast as you can. Good stuff. What do we have here? Had a question here. Do you train with all three guns, or do you prefer one, two? What is your goal with this?
Okay, so I think all the guns need attention. I think for a long time, I made grandmaster shooting all pistol matches way back when, and I didn't need to train pistol because the pistol in 3-gun matches seemed like just kind of a side note, and you'd shoot 10 rounds here and 8 rounds there and throw the gun down, and they were just big targets, and it wasn't a big deal. So I really didn't shoot pistol all that much. I did the manipulations, but I didn't really shoot all that much until the last couple of years when match directors decided to start upping the game and putting in kind of ridiculous pistol targets. So I needed to get back in the swing of things. So I really redevoted myself to shooting the handgun better. And there's mine in my ALS holster that has a locking device that I can still draw in under 0.6 of a second, because it works, the Safariland. But with these, you do have to devote. This is my Kai Custom, and it's 2011, and it's 9mm, and you still need to devote a lot of time into actually looking at the sights, getting the proper balance, stance, and grip on the gun so you can be relaxed and have the dexterity in your trigger finger to where it's tied in to where you see that sight, the gun's going off. And when when it settles in a depth of sight picture for the distance you're at, that it's going off. And you only do that by building up the familiarity with it that you get from handling stuff every day, right? If you neglect it and you go to the range, you will see yourself slow, you see yourself indecisive, and you see yourself miss. So if you devote 5-10 minutes to gun handling with each system, that part of the equation is gone. And now when you go to the range, what you're looking at is how did that help me or hinder me actually shoot? Because you can track your performance. If you do the weapons handling, you come up and you dry fire the pistol, and in those videos, that video that I just put up, I'm not pulling the trigger. Okay, that was just a manipulation video. There's 3 things I train for when I have my classes. 3. Shooting, weapon manipulation, and transitions. Shooting is anything you're doing when you're pulling the trigger, sights aligned, and you're trying to hit something. Weapon manipulation, loading these guns, keeping them loaded. Transitions is the transitions between the weapon systems. All 3 have to be addressed if you want to be a top level competitor. If you want to get better, all 3 have to be addressed. And it isn't common sense. There's techniques. There's techniques that are better than other techniques. I've done a lot of work in my garage just figuring out what's the best way to pick up a pistol, in a 3-gun match and load it, and what's the best way to keep it loaded, what's the best way to do it when it's in your holster with the chamber empty, etc. And the same thing happens with the rifle, and the same thing happens with the shotgun. You have to address shooting, weapon manipulation, and transitions. And you can do the weapon manipulation, so you can knock out 2 of them at home. Right there, you can knock out 2 of them. Weapon manipulation and transitions. So when you go to the range, those should be good. And now you can concentrate on, now come on, Jennifer and Kelly.
Trigger control.
Just bend at the knuckle. Okay, just the knuckle. Don't bend anything else. Just the knuckle. No, Jennifer, it's not like this.
Yeah, I saw her like.
If you do this, the hand, my hand doesn't move, and the trigger finger just comes straight to the rear. No, so if I start doing this, watch my whole hand starts moving. If I do this, my hand doesn't move. So there's your tip of the second tip of the day. And you got to do it with both. All right. You want to see
all this free training we're getting, you know how much it would cost in a Keith Garcia class? Oh my goodness.
Oh, the classes are a bargain, I'm telling you, because it takes 3 days.
They are a bargain.
It takes it 3 days to do it right. Okay, literally. When I teach, I do a day of 3-gun pistol, a day of 3-gun rifle, half-day rifle pistol, and then the last day is shotgun in the morning, and then transitions between all the guns in the afternoon. And it's a full, there's, like I said, there's 50 different challenges you're going to learn. And in those challenges, you will then be equipped to go up to any stage and go, I can do that. And that's the way I want to feel when I go to a match. I want to walk up to a stage and say, I can do all this stuff. And then I want to figure out how I can do it the best, how I can do it the fastest to my skill level. That's when you know you're getting good. Is when you walk up to a stage and go, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. How am I even going to carry enough ammo? Where am I going to hold on that 450-yard 8-inch plate? Things like that. It doesn't make you feel comfortable about the shooting situation. So if you have the information, it makes it easier. So that's why in my classes I focus on that information. And I don't keep secrets. I tell people, hey, this is what I do, and this is everything that I do. And if you want to beat me, go train more than me.
There you go. I was actually trying to organize a class. I didn't talk to Keith about this, but a buddy of mine, Eric Leopold, I think tried to get a match with Keith, and he couldn't get the class filled, or he couldn't get the range that Keith wanted. Plate racks, some tables for each student, stuff like that. Well, we have the range. I already talked to the head honch over there, and they want to bring you. So we just gotta kind of organize a date that works with you. And we can start filling 12, 15 students you're good with?
Minimum of 12, maximum of 15. Everybody gets personal attention. Everybody will get one-on-one with every drill. I go to every student, and while people are dry firing, everybody gets attention to show, hey, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. I show people the way I think is the best way to do it. I give people options based on body size and strength. And I've taught 11-year-old girls up to 70-year-old men. So there's a lot of different options you can do with the guns, but there's a couple, 2-3 ways that I found are the best ways to do things. And again, I don't keep secrets. I will share those things with my students and show them exactly the way I do things. And what's nice is when you start breaking down everything and you go to a stage and you shoot it to the best of your ability, and you go, that's a stage win. I don't care who else is here. I know I just won that stage because I did everything here the best I could. And that's a great feeling because stage wins at major matches are hard to come by. And it's fun. But if you train enough to know that's the best I can do, then it doesn't matter if you win the match or not. You knew that was the best you could do. But when you go to the match and you go, there was a lot of stuff I could have done better, you don't leave with the best feeling.
Exactly. Yeah. So we got a range. We're gonna organize a date with Keith and with the range people. But if you guys are interested, hit me up on social media. If you want to fill a class with Keith, we can probably get something down. Hopefully within the next couple of months. Maybe it depends on.
Where you at?
It depends. I'm over in South Florida, but I got a range over in Copeland, which is about kind of Everglades, kind of on the West Coast. Altair Gun Club. They really want to have you down there, and they got all the things you need.
I'm more than happy to travel. If anybody else is interested in setting up classes, just hit me up on Facebook, and I'm happy to work that out.
Yeah, I'm sure we could fill the
Can
class
we
quickly.
do that like before Superstition? That would be great for me. Just saying.
In like 2 weeks. Just come on
Yeah.
out. Kelly.
Yeah.
Come on out. I got a range here.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm there.
Don't tempt her. She'll go there, Keith. She'll knock on your door and
Dude,
here's
and
my shotgun rifle.
I'm on.
Let's get it done.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm on the super squad, so of course I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like
Nice.
the girl they're always waiting for.
Now, you know what? That match is going to be bizarre because we can't walk the stages. Right?
I know. I saw that.
That's unusual. Not real excited about it because there are people who live there who will know what the stages are, and people who have
Right.
friends who are setting up the stages who will know what the stages are. So there are some inherent disadvantages being thrown at us with this match, and I'm not super excited about it. Because I usually love shooting this match. They put in great stages and do crazy stuff, and it's very, very cool. I was surprised to hear that part of it. It just seems to me on a competitive level, you're giving a pretty good advantage to anybody who has prior knowledge of the stages. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a kind of going on that here. I got a kind of question to throw back. It said you weren't at the Southeast Regionals, but there was a lot of controversy on the green line. What are your thoughts on this?
Is this the string that they put up to?
Yeah, or there's like some
like a
type of
fault
green
line,
marker.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like a green fault
You had to be
line.
beyond the green before you drew your pistol or whatever,
Even though if you drew your pistol, it was downrange in a berm. There was a green line, and a lot of people got DQ'd for that.
Yeah, when they start doing stuff like that, it's usually set up for range safety, right? They don't want you shooting before a position because somebody on another range might get impacted if you miss the berm or that the house is down the way, etc. And I understand that. I understand that match directors, they have it tough. Stage designers have it tough. You have the stage in your head and you go to the range and you're like, wow, I have this great stage in my head, and you get there and you're like, that berm is too small to shoot these targets to the right side. So now I got to shift everything, or I got to keep people in a certain area to shoot from. It makes it tough if you're not actually setting up matches at a particular range all the time, and you show up there with these are the stages we've got, and now you've got to adjust them for the bays. So it's a tough thing for the match directors and the stage designers, and I do have pity for that. And I don't have a problem with that, to be honest with you. People, if you're calm, if you're collected, if you have a plan in your head, and you've went through it in your head, and you memorized it, and you closed your eyes, and you went through it, and you watched your video of yourself going through it, dry firing it, you shouldn't have an issue with that. You should just press play, and everything happens. But the only time I get concerned about stages is when there's like a clear 180 DQ like trap. Those are things that I don't like seeing people get DQ'd for stuff like that. I don't like being DQ'd for stuff like that. So it's usually sometimes in matches like that, you do need to pull it back from that 98%, 99% of your ability to the 93, 94, 95. So you're looking just a little bit harder and thinking just a little bit more about your plan, and then letting the shooting happen. But mentally focusing on your plan, because you have to do the ballet, and you have to be safe. And people get upset because they get DQ'd. And trust me, I know it. I DQ'd in 2 nationals in 1 year, pistol and multi-gun, and that's embarrassing. And that's a lot of money to go to things, and sponsors aren't really excited about it when you do it. But I learned from it, and I said, there's certain things I need to do better, and I went back and won nationals as a result, because I was. I did better. I trained harder. I got a better mental game, and was more organized in my training.
There you go. Patrick Kelly's in the Q&A here, and he's asking, is there any slots left in the Montana class?
Yes, we have. I think we have 3 or 4 slots left in the Montana class. So anybody who's interested in coming to a class, let me get to the dates. It's the last weekend in April. And we will be at this amazing facility in Montana. Hold on, we'll go back here. What is this weekend? Okay, so I believe it's the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Is that right? No, that's not right. That's March. Okay, so the 29th, the 30th, and the 1st of May. So April 29th, 30th, 1st of May. Sorry about the phone. Nice of somebody.
Yeah, so the great Pat Kelly wants to train with the Keith Garcia. You can always improve your
I was
game,
going to say, I'm pretty sure that he could make a spot for you, Mr. Patrick.
If Pat wants to come out, just hanging out with Pat would be enough. Pat could come free of charge, of course. But if anybody else is interested, we do have some spots left in that class. It's in Missoula, and it's like you fly in, and you're like, wow, looks like Yosemite. It looks like not Yosemite, that's here in California, but the big one, Yellowstone. And you're driving to Yellowstone on the side of this beautiful mountain, and they've got a range cut out. And the people were just very nice. I went there last year in March, or I'm sorry, in the end of March last year. And it was really, really cool. The people were great, and they asked me to come back this year. And it was a lot of fun, so I'm happy to do it. Also going to go back to Seattle and teach a class in Tacoma the following 3 days. So that's that is May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So if anybody wants to do a class in Tacoma, Seattle area, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we have a couple slots left in that class too. Just hit me up on Facebook.
There you go. Are you sure me free? Yeah, you free. You said it, and it's on video, so you can't go back. So Pat Kelly, yeah.
Pat wants to come out because I'm not going to act like I can teach Pat anything. We're just going to have fun.
Yeah.
I know. I want to go to that class now.
Yeah, now it's going to be Pat and Keith in that.
Pat and Keith Garcia.
You get entertainment on. You get Pat's entertainment. On top of that.
Absolutely. Pat's one of the true gentlemen in this sport, and I've always really admired him and had a great time with him at the range.
There we go. We got some Q&A piling up, so we kind of want to fly through these. Here's a good one. Comment from Making Masterclass, which is Steve Duran, who's a co-host of the show. Hi, Kelly, Jen, and Ant. Just wants to say thanks to Keith for their appearance on the show. The fans really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Keith, and this is from Steve Moneypenny. This question's been sitting here for a while, so I didn't get to it. And it kind of piggybacks off the question that I had here. Tips on how to relax. So one of the questions that I had earlier was, they can't stay relaxed in a local match. How can you do it in a three-gun nation stage when the cameras are on you, 50 grand's on the line?
Okay. All right. So to do this properly, you have to build up the skills. So you have to do something to relax your body, lower your blood pressure, lower your heart rate prior to, you can't just show up at the match and decide that this is the first time you're going to do it. I learned technique when I first started in law enforcement from one of my defensive tactics instructor, the late Bob Coca, who was an amazing instructor, one of the two best instructors I've ever met in my life. And I went to UC Berkeley, and this guy blew away all of my college professors. So what he taught me, and this was a law enforcement deal, where if you're going to a call and you've got a robbery in progress, shots are fired, and you have to jump in the middle of the shitstorm, you need to be relaxed when you get there. Things not going to go well. You're not going to perform well. You're not going to talk on the radio well. You're not going to be able to shoot well, etc. So what you do is this: rhythmic breathing. If you take the autonomic function of your capacity to breathe, which just naturally happens normally, and you turn it into something that you now may make voluntary. So you breathe in and you count. And what I'll do is I'll start breathing in to a 5 count. Then I'll hold for a 5 count. And then I'll exhale for a 5 count. Then I'll do it 6. Then I'll do 7. Then I'll do 8. If you can get up to where you're breathing into 15, holding for 15, and exhaling for 15, you are truly relaxed. It's almost like a yoga deal. Well, what happens is you do that laying in bed at night to practice it. Because sometimes you'll start hyperventilating and it makes it kind of crazy. But you need to build up those skills ahead of time. So when I get the range down, I start, the cameras come out and people are walking around, everybody's watching, and there's money on the line. Or it could be my local club match, and I've got a bunch of people that I brought from work, and I don't want to look like an ass when I'm shooting in front of them. So what I'll do, because or in a class I'm teaching, because I demonstrate every drill that I teach, and that makes me have to perform. So I try and relax and control that as well, because it works on my performance skills. I will do that rhythmic breathing ahead of that. I breathe in, I hold, I exhale, I breathe in, hold, exhale to a rhythmic breathing. You're taking that function that's normally automatic, making it something that's voluntary. It lowers your blood pressure, and it lowers your heart rate, and it calms your mind. And I learned that for addressing things in law enforcement, and it works really great for shooting. So if people start working on that, you just kind of get, your whole body feels relaxed. And if you come out to a class, I've got a bunch more tips for like when you're at the stage and how you do it. But it's that's the general idea.
There you go. That's, I mean, we're getting a lot of tips here, but we really want to put on a class here because I know I definitely, people, when you see these dry fire drills, like someone will come out with a John McClane or somebody will come out with it, and everybody's like, don't tag Keith yet because he's going to set a time, he's going to drop the mic, and then no one's going to want to do it because they're going to feel discouraged by the time. So you gotta like kind of like put it out there slowly, and then boom, and then someone would eventually tag Keith, and then he can just drop the mic on it. And it was funny because it was one that the Kai boys were doing where they'll pick up a mag, load it, and was the fastest time, and then you came out there and you did a slap the mag, and so I did that in IDP. It was not as fast as you did it, but and then you just kind of that was the way to do it. It's kind of like everybody changed that way it started. Now it was the way to do it there to get your time that low. And so,
what was funny was Shay, in the middle of Super Bowl, people are putting up these pictures, and Shay's texting me, Shay Akai, saying, "Hey, you gotta do one of these videos. You gotta show these guys how to do it." And I was watching the game, having a few cocktails, so I didn't want any live ammo around me. I didn't want to be playing with guns. But he was razzing me, so I said, "All right, let me get a snap cap, and I'll just because I know this technique, and that's not my technique. And that's not one that you're going to be able to do in many matches. But it works perfect for that scenario when you got a nice flat thing and you just want to show off." Okay, I saw Angus Abdel do that in a video years and years ago, and I'm not sure if he came up with it or somebody else came up with it, but I gave him credit when I did that Facebook post because that was something I saw him do, but it was just fun. It was fun, and the issue with that is, most people take that for what it's worth and kind of laugh about it, but then other people get all crazy, like, oh, so you're gonna leave your gun unloaded when somebody comes in your house? That stuff.
Are you the one that put the disclaimer on it? Like, this is not only for fun. This is not for defensive purposes.
I'm like, Keith, why are you doing that? Screw him.
Okay, no, so I'm not. It's not just me putting that stuff up now. I'm working for representing other people and other companies and Cobalt and our team. So when I do stuff like that, and you see that disclaimer, it's because I don't want any bad light to be shed on any of my sponsors, my co-teammates, etc. And it upset me to have to do that because. But you know what? It also, the information goes out to a lot of people, and not everybody is a competitive shooter.
I thought it was cute. I thought it was funny, the little disclaimer, like, this is for fun. This is not meant to be.
Yeah. If you don't like it, turn off the video. Sir.
Right, right. And you know what? That worked because I didn't get any stupid comments after that.
That's the only time in the history of the internet and guns that happened, I imagine.
Yes, I was very happy about that.
All right, here we go. We have when you hit the plateau in your training and you feel like you can no longer make improvements, what are drills you do to try to get things moving in the right direction again? I
call that cocaine. Oh no, I'm sorry. I've just never used performance enhancing supplements like that. No, that was a joke. All right, totally joke. Just
Dustin uses that one a lot. I'm starting to believe that.
No, you know what?
That's why he's so hyper.
Yeah.
Basically, what you got to do is look at. You have to push it to the point of failure. So if I'm doing a reload and I've got my rifle and I'm bringing it in here and I'm shoving my magazine in again and I'm driving it out and I need to get that rifle reload faster. I want to be more efficient. Well, I hear it all the time. I hear other instructors do it. Sometimes you need to go to a class to get somebody else's perspective. Because here's the thing: I was actually a student in a class recently, and it was pretty cool because it was a master instructor class, which was cool because I just wanted my certificate to say Grandmaster. But at the end of the day, when we had to reload our handguns and rifles, people are talking about when you hold the handgun out here, you're not gonna load it out here. Yeah, and I agree, right? You're going to bring it in here, and you're going to have that magazine right around this area, okay? So let me show you something. I'm keeping that magazine right in that same spot, and I'm going to pick up my rifle, and I'm going to put it on my shoulder. And now that magazine is exactly in the same spot as where I reload my freaking handgun, all right? Because people will bring it back and do this stuff and bring it under here and do all this kind of crazy stuff, and it's not efficient. If you watch my video, I don't take the rifle off my shoulder, because I just turn it, and it's in the same spot where I reload my handgun. Okay? If you're bringing it back, pulling it up, ripping the magazines out, get magazines that fall free. Okay.
Yeah.
When you push the button, if it doesn't fall out, get a different magazine. Same thing with the rifle. If I have to rip them out, it's not functioning at its ultimate capacity. And sometimes you will hit a plateau where you can't see a way of getting better. There are nice stuff like this show where you can go on and look for tips. The internet has a ton of stuff. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube and Facebook, which is good resources. But at the end of the day, if you really want to learn how to get better, go to somebody who's good, who has a good reputation as an instructor, and learn how to shoot better. And I'm not talking about somebody who just sets up drills for you to shoot. I'm talking about somebody who actually instructs you on the techniques. And that's what's important. If you find an instructor who's willing to tell you the technique, dry fire it, and then shoot it in front of you, they've mastered it. And they can teach it to you.
There you go. Eric,
it's hard to get. It's hard sometimes, I think, to get to classes. It's expensive, all that. I know with me and my crazy schedule, I have a hard enough time getting to matches, much less trying to fit in like a 2-day class. So I'll even, like, some people that are friends that are much better shooters, I'll send them a video. Tell me just pick it apart. There's a few that I asked them, and then I was like, oh, Lord. When they wrote it back, I was like, I'm going to be in the fetal position.
Yeah, but that's, it's good to get the input, because all my students, from all classes I've ever taught, I tell them, hey, here's my email, or send me a video on Facebook, whatever you want to do, and for the rest of the time you're shooting, if you want tips, if you want me to evaluate it, I'm more than happy to do it. It's easier a lot of times if I just look at the video and call them and tell them, then take the time to write it out. But I do that for my students as well, because it's something that sometimes you can't see what you're doing, and you need somebody else to look.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I said this weekend, that I felt like I was running really fast, and then I played my video back, and everybody said I run like a girl, and it was pretty bad. But you feel like you're running really fast until you watch the video.
It's all about how you feel. Okay, it's all about your were you happy at the end of that stage?
Yeah.
Matters.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go. I guess we can go to lightning round here. I didn't want to put any segments in here because we had so many questions on training, and I kind of didn't want to get Keith off the rhythm. But we can kind of throw in the lightning round here, just fast, one or the other, kind of silly questions.
Okay.
If you had to go in with a battle belt or a tactical vest, which one would you go in with?
What was it again? Battle belt?
Battle belt or tactical vest?
Battle belt.
Battle belt. All right. Emma, if you can only watch one or compete in one, is it MMA or boxing?
MMA.
Good stuff. If you're going to a restaurant, white or wheat bread?
No bread. Cut the carbs out, lose weight.
There you go. You're probably going to say the same for this. Jameson or Jack Daniels? They're the only ones left. Which one are you going with?
Ooh. That's tough.
I'm a big fan of Jack, but I've tried Jameson. It's good.
Jameson, yeah, you know what? I'll probably lean towards the Jameson on that one.
There you go.
I was a bartender before, and I've had a bunch of it. It's good.
There you go. In-N-Out Burger or Five Guys Burger Joints?
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out. All right, that's the right answer.
Of course,
but then they're eating
California
bread.
boy.
What's that?
Oh, you get a protein style. You're fine. It's all good.
That's right.
No bread.
No bread, but you get protein. Let's see. Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris get into a fight in their prime. Who's winning?
Damn, I'm gonna say Bruce, but I love me some Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I agree. Something about Bruce, man. He's like on another level almost.
Yeah, he was an innovator. He did a lot of things that were different in his training and his fighting style. So you got to give him the nod on that one.
Yeah. All right. Thin Mints or Samoa Girl Scout cookies. This is an important one. To us.
Thin Mints for me.
Thin Mints is the right answer, at least in Jennifer's eyes. It is.
Thin Mints all the way.
Yeah. Oreos or Chips Ahoy? Kind of smoking through these. Let's smoke through
Oreos.
Can you tell we're fat boys? We're not losing weight and cutting out bread and Oreos. All of our questions are about food.
I love it.
Favorite show, is it SHOT Show or NRA Show? I know NRA is kind of a different location most of the time.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. SHOT Show is my favorite, but I totally love the NRA. I love what they do for us and our gun rights. They're the only reason that we're treading water in the last 8 years, or the last 7 years with this administration. They fight for us, and they have an amazing organization. So I will go there and be very happy to attend that show this year.
Yeah, I hope to make that show. This will be my first NRA show. I always go to SHOT Show, and then I'm always like tapped out. And then NRA comes around, but I think I'm going to make both this time.
SHOT Show will tap you out and usually get you sick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All that this year for me.
I didn't get sick this time.
Yeah.
But I broke my foot or whatever, so that wasn't a very good training, I guess.
It takes a lot to get me sick. I'm an ER nurse, and I never get sick. I got sick as a dog after SHOT Show.
Oh, it's that convention center, that circulated air, and everybody shaking hands. It's all bad.
All right, the last lightning round question. I'm going to round this off. It's kind of an important one here. TechLock, ELS, the TIMS, or the PLM, which is the Comtech version. What have you found works for you?
ELS.
ELS has been the most popular.
It's very efficient, and it's very easy and compact on your belt. You can get a lot of stuff in a small area.
Good stuff. All right, let's kind of fly through Discount Corner. Jen, you want to start us off with Discount Corner?
Yep, we have Samson Manufacturing. You can get 10% off of all of your AR needs, great scope mounts, and you use the code TSM10 at samson-mfg.com.
Right on. I got a new one here for Discount Corner. This one here is from Carbon Arms. Go to carbonarms.us. Caddy Systems, AR parts. I mean, they got the Jihad vest. That we call it the Jihad vest, and on the show, it's just a chest rig. You can mount your Caddy Systems on it. Keith, I don't know if he uses it, but he uses a similar system with a chest rig. We're going to talk about that here briefly. But TSM10 saves you 10% off anything at carbonarms.us. What do we have? Terran Tactical Innovations. Keith's got the shotgun. He's a big fan of Terran Tactical Innovations. TSM10, if you want a shotgun, 10% at least saves you on that Benelli M2 all decked out. TSM10 for 10% off at terrantacticalinnovations.com. I got Dewey rods. You need fine rod to clean your firearms with. DeweyRods.com is where you want to be. TSM15 saves you 15% off on anything at DeweyRods.com. And I got Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com, TSM10, 10% off your entire order. I ordered from them this morning a charging handle for a build that I got coming up. All right, so good stuff. And I'm going to throw these guys out there. Dissident Arms, if you have a Vepr 12, a Sega shotgun, I know Kalani just picked up a real fancy, good-looking shotgun from them. If you tell them the Shooter's Mindset sent you, they might give you a pat on the back, a cookie in there in the box or something. They'll hook you up. And it really helps the show out to let them know that we referred you to them, all right? All right, let's kind of jump back into training thing. You got stuff lined up on Facebook or anything, Jen? That popped out at you?
On Facebook, the
or
only
anything,
thing I
Kelly,
have is
if you have something.
Comment from Rick Birdsall. He said, Keith wants to talk about me being done in 2 minutes while he's the one with a 15-second drill, just saying.
Oh, very nice. It's
Thank
a little
you,
late, Rick, but good.
Rick is one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet, and a truly good guy. And I'm happy we got him on the team. And we got to spend a lot of time together at SHOT Show, and we recently took a trip to Utah together to go work on the guns. And just a good dude, great shooter. Went and took the Cobalt rifle the first match and won. And that was our first win with the new gun. So that was very cool.
Yeah.
Anthony, are you
Kelly,
frozen?
Am I frozen? I'm good?
Oh, you're good now.
All right. Yeah, it was a little laggy for me in a second there. I was like, no, not now. That's known to happen. Kelly, you have anything you want to feed off of this? Anything new with yourself or anything you want to add into the conversation here from what you heard so far?
No, not much. I'm, still shooting that crazy rifle that nobody understands. So I will be taking the Tabor and shooting it as Superstition. I'm excited because I'm going to get to reach out a little farther than I normally do at my home range. So
how do you dry fire the stage with that rifle, Kelly? Can you do it for us? It's like all in here.
Everybody makes fun of me. It's like a little mini thing, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cute. You can tell you shoot a bullpup."
Yeah, there you go. All right. Do you have a class coming up with that, or is that not in the works yet?
No, it is kind of. It's still in the works. It's with the Zerk guys. It's gonna be fun.
That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, what do we have here? This is a important one here that I'm curious to know the answer to myself. Stage breakdown tips, especially when targets are pistol shotgun optional.
Okay, that's going to be what your skill level will preach. And mine, generally what happens is I will look at the smallest plate on a stage, and I'll pick my choke for that, for shooting the smallest piece of steel, and I'll have to adjust for whatever, even if there's flying clays. Then I look at, okay, how far out is that smallest piece of steel? Is it a little 3-inch disc and they got them at 15 yards? Because I know that I'm going to be able, I'll hit it with my handgun, but I'll hit it a lot faster with my shotgun. So I got a real easy drill to help you guys figure out what your skill level is in the distance. Because the bottom line is you need to figure out, and I go through this a lot in my classes, does shooting on the move benefit you? Does loading the shotgun benefit you? Okay? Is it better to put that shotgun down after shooting 9 rounds and pull out your pistol? And is it better for you to shoot on the move with a pistol, rifle, and a shotgun? And there's real easy drills to set up, and I have my students, I set them up, I have them shoot them, and I show them the times. And a lot of them are really surprised at the end of the day. But what I'll do is I'll put 2 boxes, or actually what I do is just put a dump barrel in a box about 7-8 yards away. And then I will put those 4x10 devilish MGM plates that we get a lot at 3 Gun Nation, and those little 3 or 4 inch circles, and I'll put them at 12 yards. And I will drop the shotgun, and I'll run over, pull my pistol, and I'll shoot them, and I'll have a time. And then and I'll only have I have 1 round in the shotgun. It's in the chamber at the time. And I'll usually put out 8 to 10 or 12 pieces of steel, depending on what kind of match I'm going to. The next thing I'll do is load the appropriate amount of rounds while moving to that box into my shotgun, and then shoot the steel a lot faster, but I've also had to load the shotgun. That gives me another time. So now I know if steel's at 12 yards and I have to load 8 rounds, I'm faster to use the shotgun, or I'm faster to use the pistol. And usually at about 17 yards is where it starts to get pretty even for me, and the shotgun starts to pull ahead, because when you get those little pieces of steel out at about 17 yards and further, then the shotgun just becomes that much faster to shoot.
There you go. Well said. I got a good one here. Sorry, late to the party, but wondering, and I hear from a lot of very good shooters who go to regionals and bigger events that they tone it down about 10%. They tone it down about 10%. How do you approach it?
No, negative. No, absolutely not. Never. Here's the deal. If you know what you're capable of, if you can shoot on demand and shoot your sights, because here's the point that I will make, and I will drill into my students. You have to shoot your sights. You can't shoot unless your sights have an acceptable sight picture for the target you're shooting at. So if your gun's on target and it's an acceptable sight picture, it should be going off. And I'm never going to move slower than I can. I'm always going to move as fast as I can. As I get older, I move a little slower, but you know what? I'm going to move as fast as I can between the guns. I'm going to always dump the guns and pick them up as fast as I can. I'll draw as fast as I can. I'll load the shotgun as fast as I can. And when I shoot a stage, I will shoot at 98% every single time. I don't shoot at 99 because that's too close to 100. And when you're at 100, 101 is real easy to get to, and that's where you miss. And that's where you go into the red zone, and that's how you lose. If you can go through a match without penalties, that means you're shooting on this side of 100%. If you're getting penalties, you're going past that, and you're shooting at above 100% of your personal level. But no, you will not win matches unless you're shooting at the best, up to 97, 98, 99%. I'm all for people dialing it back. Please, because most of the time you're shooting against me, please just keep it up. Yeah, dial it back 15%. I'm good with it.
Yeah, dial it back. There you go. Good stuff on that one. Patrick Kelly says, not blowing sunshine here, but your science-based approach is the reason why I want to break my streak. I've never taken a class from anyone. Good stuff, lad. So he's never taken a class from anybody before. Patrick Kelly wants to take a class with you.
Pat, come out to Mizzou. They've got great restaurants. It's a great range, and they're really nice people. Please, yeah, that'd be awesome if you come out. I'd love to have you there.
There you go. We have one from Robert Prince. We kind of hit on this a little bit. I want to know if you want to elaborate it. Best way to spend non-range days practicing for competition. So anything you want to add to that?
It's there's dry fire. When people think about dry fire, they think about trigger work. Okay. For me, dry fire is also I'm gonna do trigger work, but these triggers, they're great, but unless you shoot an airsoft, it's not resetting itself. So there's only so much trigger stuff you're going to do. For me, like I said, shooting, weapon manipulation, and transitions. So at home, I can practice my weapon manipulation, my transition. I'm going to practice the loads. I'm going to practice the charging. I'm going to practice moving between the guns. I'm going to practice loading the shotgun because that's huge. And if I knock out weapon manipulation and transitions, when I get to the range, I can really focus on the shooting part of those drills. I'm still going to do the weapon manipulation and transitions, but I'm going to have that down. I'm going to have that wired, so I'm not going to have to. I'm going to have it in a spot in my brain where I don't have to consciously think about doing every single thing. And when I get done, I'm not thinking, did I put the safety on my pistol? I know I did because I've done it every time in training. So those things let me just focus on the shooting.
There you go. Quickly want to talk about, this is the last question I have, and then we can kind of, any Q&A that you guys want to have last minute, you want to get it in now, because we're about to wrap this thing up after this. Let me see. We want to talk about your caddy system. Like we talked about, you did the old school method. Daniel Horner came out. You're like, dang, now I got to learn how to quad load. I'm sure you played with different setups, chest rig, by the waistline. What are you using right now? What rig, and what do you think works for you the best?
All right, so yeah, I came up, last year I was using the AP custom holders, and they're very cool. They work great because what I like about those is, the size of the shell doesn't matter. As soon as you put them in there, there's no adjustment. But the springs in those are pretty heavy, the new ones, and sometimes it's difficult to rip them out. I put them on a chest rig because I really wanted to utilize a chest rig because I think it's the most efficient way to do it because now the movement of the hand is much shorter. So I spent a few months just trying to find something that would work, and I came up. Tim Uball sent me the stuff. His stuff worked very good. But when I got the Safariland stuff, the new holder from Safariland. Okay, so it's got clips on the top and bottom. The shell base will sit here. The actual brass will clip in here, and they're identical on both ends, so you can put the shells in any way you want. But these have one adjustment. So if you get different size shells, and if you haven't looked at it, shells are vastly different, even in the same case. So when you put them in, you can real easily loosen this up and adjust it to where it's just right, and you go shoot your stage. And it's one quick adjustment. On it, I've got 20 of these on my, or hold 20 rounds. I got 5 of these on my chest rig now. It doesn't interfere with my other guns, but my weapon manipulation, the other guns are shooting them. And I think it's just a really good system. Bobby McGee showed me these from Safariland at SHOT Show, and I immediately went, it'll never work, Bobby. It'll never work. And because I just thought there's too much variation in the shells, but it actually, I've been very impressed since I've got them. I think because there's only one thing you need to do to actually adjust them, that it makes it easier to adjust. And they're very secure, but they come out really, really easy. I'm excited to use the chest rig and matches to see how it's going to work out.
Right on. Jen, you have one on Facebook you want to hit?
Our friend Todd Lewis wants me to ask Keith to try the Vice Presidente drill 100 yards with rifle and post video of the best time clean. It's a handful, he says.
The Vice Presidente, so the actual handgun drill that we normally do at like 15 yards, do it at 100 yards with a rifle. Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely. I can make that.
He's gonna cook it up. With Todd, we got to get a video response of your time on that.
Well, no, I want Todd's time up first.
I was about to say, yeah.
Where's the motivation in me putting up a time, and then, and Todd.
Todd has to use an Uzi or something.
All right, secret of the pros. Go out and film a bunch of them. Never put up the best one first.
There you go. Yeah, I was like that 15-second drill. I was like, dude, first of all, you probably had the timer didn't go off exactly at 15. You still had some time to play with, even on that. I mean, and I know, and I saw there was a slight bobble on the AR reload, and I know you can kind of shave off about, maybe a second.
All right. Hey, as soon as somebody comes out, loads, if I know 4 mags or puts in 20 rounds of shotgun, then I'll do it. But at this point, I'm dropping the mic, and I want McLean or somebody else to go ahead and pick that one up because it's fun, and I like doing it because it keeps you interested in what you're doing. But I had to strap on. I knew that a lot of times, so I had to strap on, make up a damn tube in my garage to try and get 16 rounds in that thing, and and it was a lot harder to load because I had to use a real stiff spring, so it was much more difficult to load that way. So I was hustling to get that done, and to do something, to throw something else in there, it would be it'd be a handful for me. I mean, if
So
somebody
now we know what happens. Now we know the truth. He goes to the range and he tapes all these takes and has them ordered, and then he posts like the number 4 best. And so he's sitting on the couch, and somebody else, John McClane, posts something up, and he's like, pulls it out of the vault, puts up the number 3.
Yeah, no need to go to the range and do it
something,
again.
He's still sitting on the couch, chilling out, posts up the number 2 best time. Now we know the secret.
I'm not saying that's not true. Never put up the best one first, because somebody's going to get that one, And I don't know. I have fun with this stuff. I think it makes it more interesting. I think by competing against each other, we make everybody better, and I think it's fun, and I hope people take it that way too. It's just fun. It's fun to go out and challenge yourself and your friends.
There you go. One here from Chad Barber. What is your preferred dummy shotgun round you train with?
AP Customs sent me a bunch of dummies last year, and they work pretty well, but they're the all steel ones, so they're kind of hard to load. So what I'll do is just take some actual. I found a YouTube video on how to make some dummies with some wooden dowels. If you do a search on YouTube for making dummy shotgun rounds. So you just take your spent holes and you shove a wooden dowel in there and some glue, and it actually you pop out the primer too to make sure it's totally inert. But they come together pretty well, because even though we want something inert in there, sometimes we're pulling a trigger, so not having a primer in it is just another safeguard. And they do get chewed up pretty quickly, and that's a pretty cheap way to make them.
There you go. Jen, who do you have? Same guy who made these for me is a 3-gunner.
Brian Weichel?
Yeah.
He's who made mine, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll take, this is a legit spec casing, kind of reload. I don't know what he puts in there, but it's the actual shell, and it has a good weight to it, actual weight.
I think it has shot in it because the weight is the same. It just has no primer and no powder.
Right. So.
And he asked me, what shells do you shoot and what color? And he tried to get me a different color, but the same shells, so they would feel the same. And because, like I said, I was using the metal snap caps before because I didn't know any better until I dropped it on my toe, and then that wasn't very fun.
They're expensive for like 2 too.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
But they feel different. You know what I mean? So I was loading with them, but then when I got my shells, it just felt totally different. So having the same exact, my dummies are exactly like mine. They feel the same.
Yeah, and he does them in different colors too. You can get like the pink ones or whatever, so you don't mix them with your real ammo by mistake or something like that by throwing them in an ammo can or whatever.
And don't go cheap. Buy like 100 of them, because you can only use shells for so long, and then the cases start getting marred, the brass gets chewed up, and you don't want all the brass getting underneath your extractor if it gets chewed up too much. So use them for a week, and then toss out those 8 or whatever and get a new 8.
There you go. Last one, Jen. You have anything on Facebook? Kelly, you have anything you want to hit?
No, excuse me. Just choked on my own spit.
Nice.
Don't get all choked up now. It's not that important.
So ladylike. I know it's almost over.
Are you sad this is coming to an end? That's the deal.
Remember, slow, deep breaths.
But now I'm gonna have all these meditations and all this trigger stuff. This is full of pro tips. I can't imagine. I know, slow, not the whole hand, just the knuckle. I've got it.
There you go.
Excellent.
I don't know. Jen needs some work on this. She's been in the whole
I'm terrible at it. I know.
Okay, so all right. So one more little tip to do this better. Put your finger here, and then start doing it this way, so you actually force yourself to bend there. Okay, so put your finger there, and then if you're driving in the car, I'll just tie rubber bands on the steering wheel, and because I've been a cop for a long time, so I spend a lot of time in the car, and each one of these is a trigger pull. Just put the rubber band around your finger. Each one of those is a trigger pull. You sit in front of the TV, just hold it, and each one of these is a trigger pull. Put some tension on it.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Who needs the class now? I mean, whatever.
Oh no! Remember, there's 50.
Me, I need the class.
There's 50 drills that we do that are that we didn't even touch on.
There you go. So yeah, you do need a class. This is a good starter. So watch this video, then go to a class, and I think you would improve. All right. I got a last one here, and then we're gonna wrap this one up. Building a new rifle, adjustable gas block or standard. I believe Keith hit on why he chooses adjustable in the beginning of the show. By the way, Keith is an Oscar, and thanks for being on the show. I can't say your name; it's kind of all over the place, but you're the only question left in there, so I'm pretty sure you know it's you. So adjustable gas block is the way to go.
I agree, and I think basically what you want to do is get the load you're going to shoot in terms of the bullet and powder, and the comp you want to use, and the buffer you want to use. Then you'll adjust your gas block until it doesn't lock, the bolt doesn't lock back. Then adjust it till it does lock back on one round, and then take it out another half turn, and then just leave it. And after you shoot a couple hundred rounds, the carbon will keep that pretty much freeze that thing right where you need it. And never just do it right. Listen, this is important. I don't want to give anybody wrong advice. Never adjust your gas block to where it barely locks the bolt back, especially if you live in a warm environment. Because what's going to happen when you go shoot somewhere where it's cold, you're now going to shoot a bolt action rifle for the first stage. And it's embarrassing when it's a 30-round stage and you're manually cycling it the whole time because you don't have enough gas being allowed through. So don't go a half turn, go 3/4 turn, go a full turn, whatever you want to do, but don't just get it to where it barely locks open and think you're good. Because you're gonna, unless you live in Michigan with Rick Birdsall, where it's 2 degrees, and that's your standard. Because when I'm here in sunny California, and then I travel back east to shoot, I've seen too many people who have had their guns go single action because they didn't have enough gas flowing through the block.
There you go. There's a tip on the adjustable gas block. I think we're going to run this one down. I guess Kelly, shout-outs. What do you start us off?
Oh, totally. See, I haven't done this for a while, so my mental note of people I need to thank is kind of, on the slow side. IWI, of course. I'm so excited. I have my new pistol off to fail 0 in UCT coating, so it's going to be just as pretty as my Glock is, and that's really exciting. Voodoo Tactical, Frog Lube, Lean Tech USA, X-Rail, TACCOM. Oh my gosh, Benchmade Knives. Fail 0, I said, and polycase ammunition.
There you go, polycase ammunition.
And techwear for my awesome jerseys. I'm kind of excited we all have techwear jerseys. That's awesome. They look really good this year. They do a great job.
All the cool kids got them. You got to have them. I'm telling you. Jen,
step up to the jacket.
Yeah, and then you got to work your way up to the jacket. I mean, it's a phenomenal jacket. We're just not saying that. I'm telling you. Once you see it, you're like, holy shit, where'd you get that from? That's how it was.
I need to bring my jacket up here. Every show I forget it downstairs.
You forget it.
Bob, everybody needs jackets.
Indeed. Jen, shout-outs. What do you have?
Alrighty, I got Savannah River Armory, Sharpshooters of Augusta, Load Up Ammunition, Terran Tactical Innovations, Vortex, Blade Tech, Carbon Arms, Lucas Oil, Outdoor Line, and Samson Manufacturing. Operation X. I think that's all. I'm being short tonight.
Yeah, I think you got them though. That was pretty nice. Nicely done. Keith, you're up. What do you have?
Well, I would like to thank the good people at Cobalt Kinetics, as well as my teammates Nick, Rick, and Kalani. If you need a new rifle, or if you want to try our rifles out, if you see me in a match, ask me. We'll go to some of the side ranges, and you're more than welcome to try them out. I'd like to thank Shay Akai from Akai Custom Guns for the handguns. I'd like to shout out to Taryn Butler, not only for the great shotguns and gear, but for the hair care tips. The good folks at Benelli, Hornady Ammo, Oakley, MGM targets, and I'm sure there's Warren scope mounts, of course, because and quick side note, get a good scope mount. I flew to Florida 2 years ago. The luggage people broke the actual pistol grip on my rifle by throwing it around so much. I got it, and I went to pick it up, and the spine was broken in the back, and that's hard to break. I've never seen one break. And I thought, oh wow, the scope had a big gouge in the top, and I went and I went to shoot it, and it was still perfectly zeroed, and I was ecstatic because I thought for sure it was going to be just a really big mess. So get a good scope mount. Good folks at Warren Scope Mounts. Sacramento Black Rifle, if you're in California here and you want to pick up something, they've got them. Duke Defense and Safariland.
There you go. Quick side note on the Kai gun. I had a gun being built by him, and we were in the shop, and he's building this little carry gun, right? Now, it was awesome little carry gun. He's like, that's Keith's gun. I'm like, I got to touch it before Keith.
Oh man, I'm gonna send it back.
I touched it. Now you got to send it back, dude. I was like, dude, maybe the awesomeness can and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win 3 again. I touched Keith's gun.
Man, you need to put that crap in a sonic cleaner, Keith.
Yeah, no, man. It was all over. I was here with it, and I was doing reloads.
That gun's been in the crack of my ass. I'm sorry, it's been in the back of my hip. I've been carrying it for the last year too. And now that you pawed it,
oh man, I was all on the slide. It was full dry fire session with that thing, man. I'm telling you.
He molested your gun.
Yeah. If he once he said it was yours, I'm like, all right.
Your gun needs
therapy. We're gonna spend some time now. All right.
That carry gun's ridiculous. It's it's this one with the little baby brother about that long, and I've honestly had that gun in my case at matches in case this one ever had an issue because it shoots phenomenal. And I was doing videos on. I have a 5-second standards course that I do for my tactical training stuff. Is basically it's 100 rounds at 5 yards and all the manipulations you could possibly think of. And I did a video with that gun, and it was cheating because it was too easy to do it all. And I was looking for somebody to actually produce a video on it. And I showed it to Shay, and he's like, well, "What are you doing? What are you doing with your hands?" And it was kind of hard to take in everything that was going on because that gun really just shoots fast. It's easy to manipulate. And at some point, I'll come out with that little 5-second standards video so everybody can give it a try.
The slide on the frame, it's like glass. It's just but that's Shay's guns though. They're all like that. But I mean, you just notice that right away. It's nothing. It's just glass on glass. That's why I'm pretty sure that's a big egg. When Keith picks up that gun and boom.
Yeah, when you've got to cycle the gun and you can literally cycle it as easy with 2 fingers. When you're feeding it and trying to keep it running, it's not something you want to have to grab and pull to the rear like some of the guns out there. So definitely want a gun that's easy to charge.
There you go. Shout outs on my end. I just want to thank Keith, man. Thanks for coming back for a second time around and spending 2 hours with us here, man. We really appreciate it.
I was happy to be here, Anthony. Thank you so much. Kelly, thank you. Jennifer, thank you.
Awesome stuff. Subscribe to the channel right below the video. You can see the subscribe button. Hit that. Every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're doing another episode of The Shooter's Mindset. I got some reviews. I got some competition videos on there that you might enjoy, so subscribe for the latest on that. If you want to email me, theshootersmindset@gmail.com. Maybe if you want to organize, kind of say I'm in for a Keith class, we can organize that. We already have the range and all the targets. We just got to work out the dates. What is it? Gear Nation USA, local guy, really good guy. He's doing apparel. He's doing hats. Check out the Facebook page, Gear Nation USA. I got Rise Armor from Fancy Triggers over there, some good folks. Dewey Rods, we talked about Techwear USA a lot today. Fine jerseys, got to get a jacket. And Carbon Arms, I'm going to round that off with them. Carbon Arms, thank you guys for tuning into episode, what are we on? I got 125 here. I think it's 126.
126.
I think it's 126. Who cares? Episode 1 of The Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for joining us. Keith, Kelly, Jen, thank you for helping me out with this. And we are out. All right.
Thanks, guys.